OdeeLoccSportsInfo here, back with another vid for you guys. Yeah, y'all, hit that subscribe, like, bell icon so y'all can be notified of this reel, because y'all know OdeeLoc keeps it real. Yeah, y'all, I want to give a shout out to Would Stay Real TV, because I looked at this video of Earl Spence Jr. doing an interview before Lamont Peterson fight, right? And y'all all remember what he said before the Lamont Peterson fight to Terrence Bud Crawford. He said, get a belt and we can make it happen. But I want y'all to look at the video. Look at the video. And everything that Terrence Bud Crawford is going through, Earl Spence Jr. went through. So he's putting Terrence Bud Crawford through the stuff he had to go through. And what happened when Keith Thurman, didn't fight Earl Spence Jr.? What did y'all call Keith Thurman? Wasn't Keith Thurman a duck? Wasn't he run time? Right? Y'all called him run time. Wasn't he a ducker? Here go the video, though.
That means staying active. I haven't been an activist recently, due to waiting. I had to wait for my type defense and things like that. And then, I had a lot of guys, not answering the call. A lot of guys, Al's called these guys saying they're not, they reported to mention my name. They try to make you excuse this and this and that. Okay, I have a belt now. I went over there and got the belt. So what's the excuse now? And I'm still calling it. I have a belt and I'm still calling these dudes out. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, all these guys. You wouldn't be sitting here if Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia or Sean Porter said they'll take the fight. I shouldn't be a world champion having to call these dudes out. And Lamont Peterson answered the call like a real fighter and like a real soldier should do.
And there you have it. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like the same thing that Terrence Bud Crawford is going through right now? But what I want to get to is, what did the Earl Spence Jr. fanboys call Keith Thurman when he didn't want to fight Earl Spence Jr.? Right? What did they call him? They called him run time. Right? They started talking about his ponytail. Right? They started calling him a DeBarge. Come on, y'all. Remember. Shout out to Would Stay Real TV, because I forgot all about that interview with Earl Spence Jr. Right? He just exposed himself. Earl Spence Jr. is doing the same thing that Keith Thurman did to him. He's doing it to Terrence Bud Crawford. But I want to ask the Earl Spence Jr. fanboys, what did y'all call Keith Thurman? What did y'all call Keith Thurman? Y'all called him a duck. Y'all started talking about his ponytail. Y'all called him one time. Right? When he didn't want to fight Earl Spence Jr., Earl Spence Jr. said, I got the belt. Now, what's the excuse? Terrence Bud Crawford, he got the belt. Now, what's the excuse? Right? It's the same scenario. But this is how you expose Earl Spence Jr. fanboys, because they don't have the same energy when it comes down to Earl Spence Jr. Right? They change the narrative all the time. Guys like Blue Blood, right? 78, all these cult member channels. They love changing the narrative. They love it because they know most of y'all don't do no damn research. Right? But Earl Spence Jr. is doing the same thing Keith Thurman did to him. But what did y'all call Keith Thurman when he did it? Right? He was a duck. But Earl Spence Jr. is the man.